Hey, I was looking on the analytics of that last video where I was talking about, loving those who don't love you and talking about the narcissist and all them views. I think we struck a nerve. So I said, I better hurry up and get back on here and finish that. Well, actually, I guess you really can't finish it because a narcissist, they come in different shapes, forms, and sizes. But the end result of the thing is that, they're control freaks. They're really grandiose. They're big liars. Their whole lifestyle is a facade. They present themselves in a manner or personality that's not true to themselves. It's not authentic. It's not authentic to themselves. They don't even know who they are because they always trying to be a character or add something to their character that, is really not there. They're always trying to improve themselves because they're so insecure. They don't believe that they're enough. They don't believe that they'll ever be enough, so it's not so much you and your criticism to them, but it's inside themselves. They feel like they're less than, like they don't measure up, and they're trying to measure up. The main thing is they got to get people to like them, people to, not reject them. It hurts them really bad. They have attachment issues, because if people don't like them or if people don't want to spend time with them or be around them, they take it personal. They feel some type of way. It's like, what's wrong with me? Why me? And if they kind of got an idea of why, they'll try to do anything they can to fix that. And, they'll create a personality or a character to try to match that or cover that to get to like them. But it doesn't last long because you can't continually do something that's not authentic. So I thought I'd pop back on here and talk some more about the narcissist. Because like I said, all them views, almost 100 on one platform. That ain't talk about the other platforms. So I think we struck a nerve. Let's get into it. Let's dive into it. Let's keep going. That means a lot of people are dealing with a lot of people that, are controlling. They're bullies. They're manipulators. And I know a lot of women, they try to love the narcissist past their pain. They try to, maybe one day they'll come out of it, narcissists are so painful as far as they insult and they down and degrade you because they got to do anything to make themselves feel more, they already feel like they in the mud. They want to push you down there further than them. They want to bury you or whatever. That's if you're their significant other. But if you're not, if you're somebody that they want to rub shoulders with or look up to, or whatever, and they don't look up to people long. They only look up to them long enough to try to get to know them and bring them down. Because, a narcissist's agenda is to step on you, is to be on top. They can't follow. They got to lead. They don't have a follow in them. They got to be the first and foremost. They got to be the HNIC. They're not team players. They have to come in and take over. They have a takeover spirit because they can't match anything because they don't know who they are. They're always in competitive mode. They always got to compete. And then even after they win, they got to go find something else to do. They don't stick and stay because, they don't even feel like they worthy after they won it. What are they going to do with this? They say they have a vision, they're going to run with it, but you never see that vision come to pass because they can't sit still. They're fidgety. They're anxious. They're antsy. They just want to control stuff and move. They want to get out of you what they can get out of you. They want to build their kingdom, and they don't even know what their kingdom is because they don't even know who they are. They don't sit down long enough to figure out what they want. Like I said, narcissists are all over the place. If you want to imagine a king who has everything in the world. Let's take King Solomon. He had everything in the world, all the wisdom, everything. He even had 1,000 women, 700 wives, and 300 concubines. I mean, what more could a woman want? He had it all. Everything at his beck and call. And he still wasn't satisfied. He said it's all vanity, vanity. Everything is vanity. So that's the mind of a narcissist. Jim Jones was a narcissist. After he got all them people over there in the jungle, created their own paradise, he still wasn't happy. It was time to kill him then. It was done. He felt the only way he could find peace is through death because he couldn't find peace in living. So narcissists can't find peace in life. They can't find peace in living because it's always got to be their way. And when they get their way, that ain't even enough because they always want something different. You can't please a narcissist. And I know women, they get to feeling guilty, like it's their fault, and they want to get them back. They keep taking them back over and over, and they keep finding themselves in that situation with the narcissist. But you got to realize a narcissist does not experience guilt. If they do, it's for a very short term because they always going to and fro, flipping to something else. They can't never stick to one thing, one story. They live so many lies, and they got to try. It's hard for them to try to keep up with the lies. Narcissists don't have remorse. They hurt you. They break your heart. They don't have no remorse. They'll come back and want to see what ways to get you back because they miss that attention. They miss that, your compliments, your affirmations, you're pushing them to greatness. They miss all of that because like I say, they miss your attention. They miss that, they feed off of that. That's what they survive off of, is your accolades and that you pump them up. You're proud of them. They miss all that. They do everything to get that back, but they have no remorse. When they smear your name, when they talk about you, when they lie on you, when they cheat on you, they have no remorse. And that's why they keep doing it over and over again. The moment you let him in, at the point, him or her, like I say, narcissism is not male or female. I'm a female, so naturally I'm going to think male. But like I say, my disclaimer is narcissism is not male or female. It's not gender specific. Let's just say that. You can have female narcissists, you can have men narcissists. Narcissist is just a person that's selfish and want their way. And, by any means necessary, they're going to get it. And when they get it, it's not enough because the flesh is a bottomless pit. They're going to want something different. They can never find satisfaction in achieving anything, if only for a split second, because it's always something else that they want. Like I say, they hate rejection. They hate you to reject them. You got to accept them. You got to receive them. That's what they're after. That's what they are trying to attain. They lack attention. Most of them sit by themselves, because they really get tired of living all the lies. They really get tired of trying to keep up with all the lies and the circles that they put out there. Because they tell you one thing, tell somebody else something else. And then they just can't keep it all together. And they don't like confrontation. So if the two people that they told a lie to, come together at them, they going to try to find a way not to be around that situation because they don't want confrontation. Unless they think that you're not a competitive person or you're not going to oust them out, they'll get bold and they'll make a round table, atmosphere. But they already studied and they got, things. They thinking you don't have no proof. Whenever you want to take a narcissist down, if you want to take on that feat, you got to make sure you have proof, because a narcissist can talk circles around you, and they got a good game. They can, I mean, they can make, people believe anything. Come on now. Jim Jones made 1,000 people, or led, I'm going to say made because that's free will. Jim Jones led 1,000 people into the jungle to live in a paradise out in the middle of nowhere, where they didn't even have contact to life unless it flew in there on a plane. Come on now. Narcissists can do that. They can talk a good game. That's why you always got to have proof with a narcissist. Because I've been raised, and, I deal with a lot of them, my work profession, all of them, basically, there's always been some type of narcissist in my face. Number one, because I gravitate narcissism. Like I said before, if I didn't give the way I do on the scale that I give, I could be narcissist, because I've educated myself and I poured into myself, and I know what I can do, and I know who I am, and I know what I want, and I know what my needs, and I know where my power comes from. I know I've created situations to where I don't need nobody else, no man or whatever in my life or whatever. And that's because I don't put myself in positions to where I don't know anything. If I don't know anything, I kind of steer away from it, or I find a way to figure it out. I don't too busy go around pulling on people to try to teach me anything, because you can hardly find anybody to walk with you nowadays. So if I can't go out there and figure it out for myself, like when I was banging on them cars in the junkyard, if I can't put myself in a position to learn it myself, I don't be in those positions to where I would be in an atmosphere where I'm not knowledgeable. Let's just say that, where I don't know anything. If I'm in that position, I don't stay long. I leave. Or I be there with somebody that I trust or that I knows. That way, if I have to pull on somebody, I can pull on that individual, because I understand everybody ain't your friend. You can't pull on everybody. It's time out for erecting these businesses with people that you don't know how to do the stuff, but you don't know how to do it. Therefore, you put yourself in a very vulnerable situation, because they know how to run your business and you don't. They run all your payroll out. You be broke, bankrupt, depending on them, and you don't know how to run your business, or say they up and leave. How you gonna run your business? How you gonna up and find somebody that you trust to run your business? I mean, you just pulling at straws at that point. That's another thing. Narcissist pulls at straws. They don't know you because they don't take time to get to know you. They don't even take time to get to know themselves, who they really authentically are. So they pull at straws. They come at you trying to look for triggers. They, like me, they say you spend money and, you bougie and you got drive a car and, you stuck up and all that. And they don't know nothing about me. They just pull in at straws, trying to learn who I am about me by trying to hit my triggers, trying to get a rise out of me or whatever. And then when they find out I'm not that way, then they, that I wear my heart on my sleeve, then they want to rub upside me, and try to get whatever they can out of me or whatever. Or if I don't like them or I don't give them what they want, they want to smear my reputation or whatever, try to put false accusations out there about me. Like, because I drive a Cadillac, I'm bougie and I don't want to help nobody and all that. But they don't know. Behind the scenes, I'm helping people keep a roof over their head. I'm helping people, manage, make their ends meet. They don't know that because I don't say that, So they just come at me about any and everything. Because I'm not giving to them, they figure I'm not giving. They figure I'm not doing, that type of thing. So, like I said, if you ever want to come against a narcissist, make sure you got proof. Like I said, I learned that. My grandmama always used to tell me to, cover your butt. I just learned that. Cover your butt. Make sure you, if anything ever come up, you got your butt covered. So if anybody know me, I got my Cash App receipts. I keep my text messages. My iPhone got text messages all the way back a year or whatever. So, I always keep I keep my proof, because narcissists always want to come at me. They always want to try to discredit me, you know, make it hard for me. And I didn't come out here and get all this education that I have to just, you know, let somebody say something and discredit me and then it's all over. You know, I'm 52 years old. And I'm saying I can't start over, but I would never be able to get back up to the level that I am. You know, I'd have to be another 50 years old. Now, I guarantee that I'm going to live to be 100 or whatever. So, narcissists, you got to have proof. Even with my job, I have a hard drive specifically for that. You know, I got proof of every documentation that I ever sent. That way, if anybody try to do anything or try to change something or say something, I got my original. I can pull it, time stamped, dated, and everything, and say, this is what I presented. That's a false. I'm just that way. You got to cover your butt nowadays. You can't trust any and everybody. Now, like I say, cash app receipts, I got, you know, people that's always saying this, that, or the other. And I prove that I have done or I have helped. I even got, you know, where I helped or asked somebody to do something, and then they lied and said they never came back, and, you know, they owe, but they want to tell everybody that they don't owe or whatever. But I got proof of that too. You know, I don't hold no grudges. You know, I walk away, I forgive. You know, you don't forget stuff like that, but I forgive and I walk away. The only thing about that is I was asked about something recently, and the only other thing about that is one thing was tied to something that I'm still dealing with. You know, my children two of my children still need to learn to drive. And I had given something to somebody thinking, you know, lock, stock, and barrel, that I could trust them. And they didn't come through. Didn't see them for months after that. Then, you know, like I say, normally I shake the dust, but this individual be in my face and I'm supposed to just look over it. But my children, anytime they hear the ringtone or anytime they hear the voice, you know, I can see the contempt in their heart. They can't stand this individual. So I'm answering questions. You know, everybody ain't perfect. You know, some people say they say, but, you know, they don't act say. You know, some people live in the flesh. You know, stuff like that. Because you can't make nobody forgive. So I'm a forgiver. I don't run around and hold grudges, and that's too much weight in my spirit. I'm too blessed for that. I ain't got time. God wouldn't bless me at the level that he blessed me, and he wouldn't keep me at the level that he keeps me if I was running around holding grudges. If I was running around being judgmental. Somebody lied to me. You know, I'm the type of person, I'll stop dealing with you, because if you lie to me, I can't trust you. But that don't mean I'm going to hold a grudge. I'm still going to be cordial and do whatever thus saith the Lord. But I won't put no, let's just say I won't be conversating with you all the time, because I don't know whether to believe what come out your mouth or not. Let's just say I'm not going to be that comfortable with you anymore. But, you know, forgiveness comes with boundaries. Forgiveness does not make you a doormat. And that's what a narcissist wants you to believe, is that in order for you to forgive a narcissist, you got to continue to put yourself in a position to where you constantly get poked at. They'll come around the corner and slap you in your face at that same corner. No, forgiveness causes you to go a different direction so that you don't get slapped in the face at the same spot. It gives you wisdom. It gives you understanding. So you don't keep being in the same position for that individual to keep doing you the same way over and over and over. So, like I say, narcissists, you know, they want to hold stuff against you and then hold you for being judgmental against them. When technically you're not judgmental. They just feeling guilty in a sick way. I ain't saying they feeling guilty like, you know, they want to cast guilt on you is what I'm saying. They don't feel no guilt bone in their house. Like I say, they don't feel no remorse or whatever. They want to isolate you. They want to keep you away from your family and friends, you know, because they don't want to try to keep up with the lie with you. And then they got to try to keep up with the lie with them, you know, because, you know, after a while, somebody like, didn't you say something? You know, they don't like no confrontation. But they keep your family and friends close because they create, like I said before in that other video, flying monkeys is a psychological term of mutual friends that you have between with you and the narcissist, that they go and sow discord in their ear and keep them, you know, with you trying to get on their side, trying to come against you, because they know eventually you're going to leave. And they're going to they building somebody else they can feed off of. Because like I said, they survive off of that attention. They survive off of the accolades. They survive off of that energy. So they want to get you by yourself. You normally, they want to move you away from out of state, away from your family and friends, away from your kids, you know, everything. That's another point. They don't want you to, you know, the kids are competition. They don't want you, the kids in the way. You know, they don't want the kids around or whatever, because, you know, the children take a lot of attention. And they feel, even when they have children with you, they feel like they've created the competition. They've created something that's going to be in the way, and they can't handle that. And mothers, they don't like mothers who put the children before them. You know, they got to be first. I mean, so much to the point, God, you know, they got to be before God. You know, that's how much attention they need. Don't go to church and be in church all day. That's too much. You know, they need your attention. Next thing you know, you sleeping with the deacon. Anything to cause havoc, turmoil, discord, to make you not want to go there no more, so they can isolate you and suck all the life out of you, that energy out of you. Narcissists have an internal expiration date. That's a date where they're going to be done with you. They don't want to deal with you anymore. That's normally the date that you're not pouring into them no more. You're not giving them the accolades. You're not giving them attention. You're not giving them the energy anymore. So they have an expiration date. And basically that expiration date has to deal with the date, coincides with the date that they get tired of living the lie. Whatever lie or personality that they've conjured up and to perceive, you know, to present to you, they get tired of that, living that lie, because it's too hard for them. It's too much work for them. So instead of getting up every morning and living that lie, you know, they just start disappearing. They have an internal expiration date. They move from you and go move on to somebody else and start living another lie with somebody else. Something that doesn't feel so heavy, or it doesn't cause too much effort. You know, they just go start over somewhere else. They fear you moving on. They fear, how dare you, you know, get with somebody and move on and have your best life. Live your best life. Because, you know, you can only have your best life with them. This is when you get to domestic violence situations, suicide situations. This is when you deal with people that say, if can't nobody have you, I won't have you. I mean, if I can't have you, can't nobody else have you. You know, that kind of thing. Because they don't want you to take away the attention. Remember, that's what they live on. They thrive off of. They thrive on that attention. And they don't want to be sitting by themselves because they don't even know who they are. You know, they scared to find out who they are. Or maybe they've been through some trauma or something, and they scared of who they are. They scared to learn, you know, who is that person? You know, they spend so much time and effort in others to where they never sit and look in the mirror and find out who they are. So they have an internal, moving on. They don't want you to move on. You know, they're very insecure. Their insecurities go into overdrive. They just feel like, you know, you sleeping or you want to move on only because you found somebody else, or somebody must be better, greater than them, or maybe they got a better personality, or they'll try to do something different. They'll try to go overboard. You know, they're already grandiose, but they'll try to step overboard even more so, grandiose, to try to get your attention or whatever. You know, they're always attention seeking to get your attention. You know, they want to be with you, and they don't know how to be with you authentically. They don't know that they're already enough. They create this personality that they can't live up to, and they kill their own self, because they never present themselves to the table. After the love bombing phase where they're so in love with you, they love you. I mean, a few weeks after you met and you talk, they talk about I love you or whatever. That's because they don't even know who they are. They don't even know you who you are to love you. But they so in love with you. That's because they never developed that childhood personality, their childhood self. So anybody that gives them any kind of attention, you know, they just fall in love instantly. You know, they're very, very vulnerable. Like I said, they're very insecure, and those insecurities make them very vulnerable. The only people that really get to know any kind of part about them is their significant others, because their significant others get to see the you know, their drawers are dirty, you know. You know, they get to see, you know, who they are when they take the mask off. And those are the ones that they try to annihilate if they try to leave. Because how dare you leave me and you know who I really am. You know all about me. You know my trauma. You know my hurt. You know my pain. You know what I'm really dealing with. You know my demons. How dare you? How dare you leave me and go off because they fear that you're going to tell somebody else or whatever. Naturally, their life ain't even all that worth sharing, but they scared you're going to let somebody else know or whatever. If they thought you was that type of person in the first place, they would have never divulged any information to you. But they want to put that out there and try to smear you. And then normally, for the most part, it raises attention and people go out and do it just because other people say it. But I'm not one of those type of people. And there are a lot of other people that, you know, you can't make me do something. You can't make me come out of character simply because of you gonna tell me what I'm gonna do. Because if that ain't my character, I ain't gonna do it. You're not gonna force me to be somebody that I'm not. And like I said, that tortures the narcissist because they're afraid that you're gonna expose them. They are afraid of exposure. They are afraid to be found out. They are afraid that their whole life is a lie because they never took the time for personal development. They don't even know who they are emotionally. I mean, they feel emotions at certain points, but for the most part, they're very numb. These are the type of people that, you know, military soldiers, you know, they go out and they kill people, and you can't just watch somebody die and it not affect your psyche, that it not affect your emotional system. So your mindset, you can't just do that. Instead of working through that, going through therapy, I'm an advocate for mental health. Instead of working through that, they try to fix it on their own. They try to figure it out on their own. They try to live that with the trauma. And, you know, they have nightmares because they hurt somebody or maybe they've seen somebody die. You can't watch death and it not affect you. It's going to affect your psyche because it wasn't designed for you to see that. God himself said, you can't see my face and die. You know, God can only one give life and death. So if you watch somebody die, you've seen God. You can't live not and have a normal psyche. You got to have therapy. You got to work through that thing. You can see people dead and it affect you, but to literally watch somebody die, it does something to you. Emotionally, psychologically, it does something to you. So therefore, we have a lot of veterans, a lot of soldiers and stuff that are in therapy. And we got a lot of people out here that have seen, like gang violence or whatever, they've seen that, they're not in therapy. They need to get in therapy to be able to deal with that because that transfers over into their marriage, their relationships. They can't have a healthy relationship with anybody because that's pulling on them. I mean, a narcissist gets a rise out of being able to take somebody's life, whether they realize it for that or not. It's a sense of power. that they feel eventually, you know, to watch somebody die. You have the serial killers. You have the people that run around and kill people. That's because they feed off of that power. They feed off of that energy. So they need therapy. They need help to work that through. They need God to help them with that, because they'll never be able to have a relationship, a healthy relationship with anybody, until they deal with that part. And then, like I say, if you had any other kind of traumatic abuse, women, sexual abuse, yeah, men too, that you got to go through, that you got to work out. You got to work it out. You can't just transfer one thing onto somebody else. You got to be able to release some things. You got to be able to heal. So a narcissistic person that abuses people, that's power in that individual's mind. To be able to take control over that little girl or that young man, that's power. And the more you sit and think about it, the more you keep it in your mind, the more you keep bringing that power to the person that hurt you. That's why I had to go through therapy for the sexual abuse. Thank God I went through. Thank God the therapist that I've had, she was a believer. She was another one that led me to Christ. So God was with the therapy too. There are some saved therapists. I'm one of them. You want to sit and talk to somebody that's got some education that can help you work through some things. Don't sit and talk to somebody that can't do nothing but gossip and just sit and, if they can't get themselves out of their own situation, how they going to get you out of the situation? So, ain't nothing wrong with talking with people. It's just who you talk to or whatever. Like I say, the narcissist, they have fears of aging and illness because, there are things that they want to do in life and maybe they feel they too old to get it done. Like I said, I've been in school since 2009. That's because I love what I do. I love to learn. But there are some people that want to be something and they haven't even begun school and they feel like it's too late or whatever. You can learn on a lower scale. If you waited all this time, 50 years old, and you want to be a doctor and you don't feel like going to college because you feel like maybe you ain't going to live long enough to graduate or whatever, you can think of other ways to help people. You can be a community health worker. It don't take all that time to go to school. You can find different ways to go to school and, fulfill that purpose in your life. It's never over until God says it's over. You still got hope in your body as long as you got strength, breath in your body and the activity of your limbs. As long as you still breathing, that means God still has purpose for you. If God don't have no purpose for you, you're not breathing no more. You in the ground. There's no more hope for you. There's no reason for you to be walking around here. But God got a plan for you. He got a purpose for you. So, they mostly like germaphobes. They don't like to, they always wiping themselves, washing their hands or whatever as far as illnesses. They scared of people dying. They're scared to die because, their spirit ain't right. They stay up all night. They can't sleep. That's because they scared to die. You go to sleep, you don't know if you're going to wake up. It's only by the grace of God that you wake up. Your alarm clock don't wake you up. Only God does. And if you don't wake up on this side, you got to know where you're going on the other side. If you're scared to go to sleep, if you're scared in your spirit, that means you ain't going to heaven. While you breathing on this side, you still got time to get it right. You still got to confess that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. You still got to, forgive. You still got to repent. You still got to confess your sins to Him. You still got to believe that He was raised from the dead. You still got time. You still got time for your soul salvation. Romans 10:9, read it for yourself. You still have time for your salvation. You still have time to make it in. As long as you got breath in your body, you still have time to repent and make it in. Like I say, if you are scared to die, which death is only a transition. You're going from the physical world to the spiritual world, which means you leave this earth, your body goes back to the ground, because from whence it came, but your spirit lives on eternally, either with God or in hell in the lake of fire. So if you are afraid, that's not of God. God he don't give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. If you're afraid, you don't have a sound mind. You know, you need to get to God and get some things together. You got to go to him and repent and get your spirit right while he's still pulling on you that you still have a chance to get right. Because once you transition, you ain't got no more chance. It's over. So take the time to get your spirit right. You know, like I said, the narcissist is afraid to die because they know they've done some things. They've been controlled. You know, they've acted in God's place. They sinned against God. You know, trying to be God in other people's lives, bullying, dictating. You know, they ain't right. So they know that they're not going to heaven. So they need to get it right. They need to repent and be delivered from being a narcissist. They're afraid that you're going to starve them of their supply. They're afraid that you're going to not give them the attention that they need. They're afraid that you're going to stop complimenting them, that you're going to stop paying attention to them, spending time with them. They're afraid that you're going to leave them, that you're not going to say nothing to them, that you're going to ignore them, because they thrive off of that attention. They don't know how to encourage themselves. They don't even know who they are to encourage themselves. They don't look within inside themselves to see who they are, what they can do, their creativity. They don't know nothing about themselves. So they crave it from others. It gives them a rise to know that somebody is proud of them or that somebody's encouraging them. And they don't want to let you go when you do that because they feel so much love and appreciation. They just feel, you know, like they being fueled. That's their fire, their energy. And the moment you take that away from them, they're afraid that they're not going to live again, because that's how they live, is through the affirmations and the compliments of others. So they feel like they're losing their mind, which technically they are. Trying to live one life with this one, keep up with that lie, combat that lie, try to remember this lie, because their whole life is a facade. They're not authentic. They tell you one thing and tell somebody else something else, not because they tried the lies, because they can't remember. They're all over the place. They have no foundation, no basis. They don't base it off of their own heart because they don't even know what's in their own heart. So they make up something. It's not genuine. It's not authentic. So dating a narcissist, it's like dating Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know who you're going to get from day to day. You don't know what energy they're going to come in at you. You don't know what energy they're going to wake up in. Because they could have a bad nightmare and carry it out on you. Like I said before, they're afraid of public exposure. They're afraid somebody gonna tell all their business in front of people. Because if they get exposed about the liar that they are, depending on what scale it is, they may have to leave town, move out of town, move out of the country, or whatever. Because everybody will look down on them because their lie would be out. They can't live in truth. They can't walk in truth. First, in order to do that, you got to know who you are. You got to have your loins girded about with truth. You know, you got to know who you are. You got to have the breastplate of righteousness on. That's God's righteousness. And you can't wear God's righteousness if you run around lying to everybody. You got to walk in truth with God. In order to have God, you got to walk in truth. He's not going to walk with you and you're a liar and the truth ain't in you. That's the enemy. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve the enemy and serve God too. You can't serve God and money. You know, the spirit behind money is the enemy. Lucifer, Mammon. That's the spirit behind that. You can't serve money and God. You serve God and use money as a tool, which is what I do. Everything that I have, I use it as a tool. My home, I open up my home. My car, let everybody in my car. Who I am, I work with mental health patients. My time, everything is a tool. I use it for the glory and edification of the kingdom of God. But narcissists use it for the glory and edification of themselves. That's the difference. You can't serve two masters. You can't want money and call yourself serving God. You can't preach money all the time because of the lack that you're living in, the wants that you have, or even the needs that's not being met because God isn't meeting your needs. God ain't meeting your needs because you live in a lie, because you're sinning against him, because maybe you're living in adultery, or maybe you're living in infidelity. God is not going to honor the sin that you're in. So therefore, you're living in lack. He's not providing your needs according to his riches and glory. He wants you to come out of the sin that you're in. He wants you to obey him. He wants you to, obedience is better than sacrifice. When you come out and come closer to him, then that's when he gives you the desires of your heart. But as long as you're sitting in sin, you already got the desire of your heart. He don't have to give you nothing else. You living in sin. If you're sitting in adultery, or you're sitting in infidelity, or you're sitting in lies, or, covetousness, or any kind of works of the flesh, God is not going to condone the sin that you're in. That's the reason why you're experiencing lack. When God blesses you, he blesses you at a level that makes you rich and adds no sorrow. So if you're judging those that are blessed and they're rich and they ain't add no sorrow to them, but you judging them, you the one living in sin because you judging your brother. You putting your mouth on somebody that God has blessed. They not worried about the provision. Maybe they going through some things. Maybe God is spanking their butt or whatever. They learn their lesson and God continues to provide. God has not allowed them to lose it. So therefore, God is keeping it. God is protecting it. God stands behind it. Don't worry about what they got. Worry about what you got to do to get what God got for you. And if you want what they got, ask God. He made more than one. You sit and be in judgment. Maybe somebody came and hurt you. Maybe you don't know how to deal with men. Maybe you don't know how to speak to men. Maybe you don't know how to say no to men. But you blaming or judging somebody else because you couldn't say no. That person is going on, living life and blessed and everything with the provision that God has given them. And you sitting up there with your judgmental spirit because you feel some type of way. Because like Adam blamed God for the woman that he gave him. Because Adam couldn't say no when she brought that fruit. Adam fell because he couldn't say no. She didn't fall. She came and did what she was supposed to do. She brought it to her husband, to her head. He made the decision. That's the reason why he fell. We make excuses to reason why we say, well, she shouldn't have done this or she shouldn't have done that. But anytime else somebody do something and it don't cause hurt, harm, or danger, it's all right. Like I was told, I shouldn't have brought somebody somewhere. If that's the case, I shouldn't have brought the woman that I brought there before. That was a blessing. And I shouldn't have brought the other man that I brought again. That was a blessing that they pulling on. But because I didn't know what was going on in one individual's life, and that individual did some things that was questionable, I'm supposed to be judged. Like I say, God ain't judged me. Everything, I'm blessed. Everything is back to running the way it's supposed to running. And that person is still sitting in judgment. I suggest that person get their heart right before Jesus come back. Saying I shouldn't have brought one person somewhere is saying I shouldn't have brought nobody. God does not respect that person. Sometimes we just need to be accountable. We need to acknowledge where we were wrong. Sometimes we got to learn to say no. Like I say, we never know what people are going through. We never know what's in people's heart. And until something happens, we don't find out. But we don't have to keep going along with the same story. We don't have to allow that person to keep doing certain things. We can pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and continue with God. Like I said, I'm going to get off of here. This is almost an hour again. I saw the views on the narcissistic, loving those who don't love us. That's a narcissistic mindset. Maybe I'll continue along this way, since it got so many people's attention. The narcissist needs love too. But the answer to that is you got to be a good steward. You got to be a good steward of your time, of your money, of your attention. You can't be so into that individual to where you allow it to pull you down. If it's too much, step away. If it's too much, shake the dust. But never let a narcissistic person get the best of you. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Therefore, yes, I get myself caught up sometimes. But when a person wrongs me, it puts a check in my spirit. So, I can say I'm a behavior analyst. I kind of see which way it's gravitating again. So I don't put myself in a position where that individual can do me wrong again. In other words, what I'm trying to say is people going to do you wrong. Narcissists going to be in our life. We are breeding a lot of them because we've been through a pandemic. We're hurting. We've gone through a lot of trauma, and there's a lot of people that have that entitlement spirit. They just want things their way. They're tired of hurting. They're tired of being in want. They're tired of being in lack or living in lack. And they just want their way by any means necessary. So you're going to run across some narcissists. Your duty is to be a good steward of your time, your energy, your money. Don't give so much away of yourself to where you lose yourself, or you become a rag doll or a piece of meat, or at their every beck and call. Don't give so much of yourself that you lose who you are. Yeah, I can say that. It was my friend. She was dealing with a narcissist, spearing her name and everything. And she learned that all she had to do was just ask. And she asked that individual to be removed, and that individual was removed. God heard her. Maybe God is trying to teach you something. Goliath only came on the scene to elevate David. The Goliath in your life, the major mountain in your life, is only blocking the door that you're supposed to walk through. So if you give all of yourself and give up, then you'll never know the door that you'll walk through. Normally I shake the dust and I walk away. And recently it's been no different. I just, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm helping some individuals, with a situation right now because I had control over some things. I need to teach in this and then be able to do whatever I need to do. But other than that, I shake the dust, go do something else. I don't waste my energy because tomorrow ain't promised to me. I'm 52 years old. I've been here half a century. I ain't got time to sit here and play no mind games with nobody. I ain't got time to sit there, beg, and be at no beck and call. And I ain't no beck and call girl for nobody. So I don't have the energy or to waste the energy. I don't have the patience to play with narcissistic individuals, with their control. Because I don't know they don't have control over me. Only God has control over me. And that's only because I give it to him. Because he gives me free will. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit this again. You know. Loving somebody that doesn't love you basically is loving a narcissist is loving somebody that uses you. Because they don't give to you. They just use you. They need what you have to elevate themselves. They seek to be exalted. And only God exalts you. And when they can't get God to exalt them, or they can't get God to bless them, or they can't get God to give them what the desires of their heart, they come and get it by any means necessary from the people that they see that have their wants. They try to covet, or they try to break you down, or they try to get you to rub shoulders with them, take the credit. You know, they just there to use you like a rag doll. They don't want nothing to do with you. They just trying to make a name for themselves, to raise them up. That's the Antichrist. The ones that want to make a name for themselves. They don't want to glorify God or make a name for, God or help build God's kingdom. They just after whatever they need. They're tired of living in lack and want. And some of them, they can't even go to God to ask for what they want or what they have need of because they know their spirit ain't right. They've done people wrong. They know that they've come against God, that they've spoken against God's anointed, and they've done harm to the prophets. They don't even feel comfortable asking God. So what we do is we pray. We got to continue to pray. But guard our heart. Protect our spirit. Protect our energy. Don't let them cause us to fall. Don't allow them to be a stumbling block to us if we can handle it. Walk away if you can. Walk away if you feel that that's best. But know that a narcissist don't want you to walk away. They become stalkers. You got domestic violence. You got suicides. You got all kind of stuff. Do whatever you need to do to save you, yourself, your children if you got. Don't play with a narcissist. Narcissists do not play fair. They're all self-centered. They just look at you as a tool, as a means to get what they want. They don't care about your soul. They don't care nothing about you. All they care about is themselves. Y'all stay blessed.